The modern US Army tank convoy is in heaps of trouble. 290,000 soldiers are about to be ambushed by 7 million Roman soldiers that surround their tank convoy columns. Today we are going to see if the modern US Army can counterattack and fend off against 7 million Roman troopers. If you guys do enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below what other Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 situations do you guys want to see. Either way, our tank column here is surrounded on 3 sides by Roman troopers. Let's see if they can stop this attack. Alright, pressing start right now. 7 million Romans charging against 230,000 modern US Army soldiers. All units on the battlefield are on attack mode. So the US, instead of standing idly by while they get surrounded, they are going to be counter-pushing the Roman troopers. And right now that seems to be working in their favor. They've got DMR troopers on this side over here, and they're going to be able to fire very, very far out. On this side, we have ourselves some just standard M4A4 riflemen, standard cadets, and they are fighting a slurry of auxiliary Roman legionnaires over this way. And there's a wide variety of Romans as well. We've got Praetorian guards, legionnaires, generals. We also have some catapults and archers. You can see the catapults on the horizon. 200,000 of them, in fact, which is quite a number. Ooh, a little bit of lag there. We've got the spearmen coming in front with M249 US Army light machine gunners holding them off, and the auxiliary spearmen have started to straight up smash against the US Army lines. Unlike the other areas where the US Army is able to keep them at bay a little bit more, that front line is getting hit directly. Now over here, we can see some explosives going off. Some of those are going to be the M1A2 Abrams, which the US has 500 M1A2 Abrams at their disposal here. You can see them firing away as much as they possibly can. Don't know if it's going to be the... What's up, gamers? I'm here to tell you about Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an amazing place where you can get some fire deals on all sorts of video games. Seriously, it's like 60 to 95% off, as you can see here. These are all of the Star Wars titles they have. They literally have every Star Wars title. You can also get XCOM here, Men of War Assault Squad 2. All of the games I play on the channel you can buy here for extremely cheap prices. If you use my affiliate link in the description, it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys for listening to this sponsorship, and thank you to Instant Gaming for continuing to sponsor the channel. Most effective, but what definitely is going to be effective, is the US missile systems. Oop, little bit of lag back here. You can see them. Why is it laggier back here? I have no idea. You can see them back there firing away and splashing down against a huge portion of Romans coming forward over here. So that will be interesting to see what happens. We have more elite riflemen rangers over here for the US military. There's actually 8 different US units on the battlefield right now, so not all of the infantry is the same across the different columns here. Over this way we have some honey badger units as well, so I'm getting another lighter unit over here. You could tell because they have the cadet sort of hats on versus helmets. Ooh, big lag spike. Hold on. All right, we teleported to the ground over here. When you have these massive battles, when all units are moving about at once, Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 has a ton of trouble just kind of computing that. My computer is currently coughing up a lung. So yeah, you can see these guys have just sort of the standard fatigues on. They don't have that armor or the helmets that the other troopers have, and that means they actually have less health and armor rating in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 as well. So there is actually a little bit of a difference when it comes to the different looks of the troopers. It does equate to different statistics for them as well. These guys running up onto this hillside. I can't tell if it's an actual hill or a body pile. I think it's a body pile here. And now we do have the Roman army kind of making contact with these guys over here as well. My goodness. Currently, we have 5.14 million Roman soldiers remaining, and we have 206,000 modern U.S. Army soldiers remaining. So about 30,000 dead U.S. Army troopers and 2 million dead Roman soldiers. Now, the explosiveness of the start of the battle will start to fade away, so I'm anticipating less kills for the US going forward. They're going to have a little bit more of a struggle going forward, and potentially more kills for the Romans, especially as all of these catapults come forward. Now, catapults in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 are pretty weak. They do an amazing job getting kills, and look at that. The splash damage shoots a ton of soldiers up in the air. Very, very difficult to, prevent that from just arcing over because they have such distance. However, they're super easy to kill. It's like a few bullets and they're dead. So, as long as the US Army keeps them at bay, they're only going to get a few of those very, very powerful shots in before the catapults end up dying out. But a few of those shots are landing and are getting US Army kills, which is a no bueno on the battlefield. That, coupled with the auxiliary spearmen here pressuring the front M249 machine gunners, things are going to get a little bit hectic for these boyos over here. Now, if we go deeper out this way, we'll start to see, some Praetorian Guards, some Centurions out here as well. So we'll have more variety as we go further out. And then way out there is going to be some of the archers. I think they are some of the last line of ambushers. You can see the US has spread out very, very far from their initial starting point here and are starting to take a lot of ground, especially the side flanks over this way. The Romans have been pushed back horribly over here. However, the further back they go, the more canyons there are going to be, which will prevent the US Army from being as effective on the battlefield because they're not going to be able to fire just straight ahead and get kills. They're going to have to round the corner, and that's going to allow the Romans to get a little bit closer to them. Oop, big lag spike here, but we're good. So yeah, this could be a very, very good ambush point for the Romans to continue their ambush in. However, still, the bulk of the Roman army is going to be dead straightforward over that way. Yes, we do still have quite a number in these canyons over here, but the flanks of the Roman army seem to be the first to get wiped out, as the US did have more of their vehicles in sort of that backline area back here. So that's going to come sweeping on through now through the canyons, and I think we'll see a little bit more effectiveness from the Romans in this vicinity. Either way, guys, I hope you have been enjoying the Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 videos. I kind of slowed them down for a little bit because I was getting really into Gates of Hell as well as Broken Arrow and stuff like that, and we've only been doing like one a week or so, but I've gotten a lot of comments requesting that I get back into them more so I'd be more than happy to. Just let me know in the comment section if you guys have any battle ideas you guys want me to do. And on top of that, if there's any you don't want me to do, because I know a big request has been to stop doing as many full holdout videos. You guys prefer it when I do like a 1 versus 500,000 and then slowly increase the defenders, or you like it when we do attacker versus attacker, or attacker versus some defenders and then some guard mode troopers or attack troopers combined, but just having straight up defense has been a little bit more on the outs. Some people do still really like it, so I will still do it, and I will sprinkle it in, and it's also the battles we can do largest, because when we do have all sides attacking, like in this battle, it gets a little bit laggy on the computer. Having to compute all of the different units moving at once is a little bit more strenuous. But I will be sprinkling in more of those other alternative battle types as well, since a lot of people have been requesting more of them, this being one of them. I also want to return to doing more tournament battles, and someone did make a pretty basic but cool looking tournament map that we can definitely utilize, and maybe we'll do an all fantasy armies battle, or an all modern armies battle, or all historical armies tournament battle, etc, etc. And I've got Jamie D, who has helped me out a ton with a ton of different videos. We've collabed on units and things like that. He's an absolute legend in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. He is going to help me with, I guess, another mod that someone else has made that makes it so you can have more than just 4 teams on the battlefield at once. So that'll be really nice to see as well. Either way, the Romans are kind of keeping the US Army at bay over here. It's also kind of nice that all the tanks are subjugated to these little canyons over this way. Prevents them from, going straight forward over here, where the M249 soldiers are a lot more split up now, interestingly enough. We still have tons of catapults coming forward, throwing their rocks at the boys out here. So, you know, it's still a pretty good kill fest over this way. But the U.S. Army does seem a little bit more split up over here now, and it's good for the Romans that the U.S. does not have their massive explosive vehicles up front here. Their Roman soldiers can purely concentrate on taking out the U.S. over this way. We do have 191,000 remaining U.S. Army soldiers, so since we first started, actually less U.S. Army soldiers are dying than at the beginning, and we're at 3.72 million remaining Roman Army soldiers, so about another million Roman Army troopers have died, and about another 10,000 U.S. Army soldiers have died, which is not a great ratio for the Romans to potentially catch a W here. I think we definitely need these catapults to start doing a lot more work. Hopefully they can survive long enough to do that work. And then we also need the archers to pull through and start coming forward and getting some kills. I think ranged units for the Romans is going to be crucial. A lot of their troopers, their spearmen, their swordsmen are coming in here and getting nice little digs in at the U.S. Army. They're getting kills here and there, but it's not quite enough. They need a bit more of a wall of arrow fire or a catapult fire to really crush the U.S. Army and deal enough damage to all of them to get some actual kills here. But I think there is still hope for both sides, for the U.S. Army to survive, as well as for the Roman Army to potentially get the W. I think it's still pretty much anyone's game, as far as I can tell right now. We are, by the way, on the Old West map, which I believe is the last official... Ooh, it's really laggy over here for some reason. Okay, maybe it's the town. It's the last official, I believe, Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 map to be released, and I think it was released along with the map creating ability in the game. So, kind of cool to see that this one is, you know, still pretty cool. It's not the greatest map, but I don't know. It's fun to use new maps every once in a while. I've only used this one in a couple videos. Either way, why don't we go ahead and time-lapse these Romans charging the U.S. Army over here. 184,000 U.S. Army soldiers remaining, 3.3 million Romans remaining. Okay, things are progressing here in just 3 minutes. 2.5 million remaining Romans, so they've lost like 500,000 soldiers in that time span, but also only 164,000 remaining U.S. Army soldiers, so they also lost a considerable amount, like 26,000 in that shortened time span as well. So it seems like both sides are coming to a head and starting to get more kills on each other than before. I'm wondering if it's the archers coming into play for the Romans? Could be it. I'm not totally sure. It could also be the canyon fighting over this way. Yeah, look at this. So the Romans are now coming up over the top and down towards the U.S. Army over this way to attack them. It looks like a few of the Abrams have gone down as the crowd is thinning. And certainly a few of the missile systems back here are also dead. They stay on the battlefield like this guy is dead, but it just kind of looks like it's alive, but it's dead. So they just kind of stay on the battlefield like that. But these guys are dead. Or, no, these guys are alive. Yeah, this one's alive. This one's dead. You can press F if you're unsure, and you can take control of it. This one's dead. This one's alive right here. Skadoosh. Might as well take a shot and completely missed it. Wow! We do have a bunch of flanking catapults over here, though, and they are clearing out a lot of the back lines of the U.S. Army here, and it helps that the infantry is completely focused. Oh, big lag spike. Yikes! Okay, there we go. The infantry is completely focused on the Roman soldiers, so the catapults can continue to do their thing without getting totally destroyed. Look at that. 2 million. We just passed the 2 million mark of remaining Romans and 154,000 remaining U.S. Army soldiers. So the Romans are really starting to clean up a lot of these troopers at the very, very end here. We do have archers also on the front lines firing away, those arrows arcing up and over and dealing damage to the U.S. Army, and that is going to help the Roman infantry out a lot as well, as they'll be fighting a weakened force, which also has been weakened by, of course, the constant fighting the U.S. Army has been going up against. But it should make Roman jobs a lot easier. Also, the archers might be able to kill a few of them, but in totality, archers tend to be better at weakening enemies versus just outright killing enemies and things like that. That's more their strong suit, is to collectively weaken the oncoming enemy armies. Over this way, we still have a lot of Romans back here, all funneling in. A lot of catapults down here as well, getting to the front lines, which is good to see. Yeah, the canyons seem to be the most helpful area for the Roman troopers. I mean, it makes sense. It's where they're able to continue kind of... Oh, big lag over here. Continue their ambush of the U.S. Army. That seems to be the best case scenario for them, is where they're able to do the ambush. Let's watch this little area here. This is a pretty cool spot where we have like a mini battle within the battle being fought. Okay, the Romans over here have certainly gotten a number of kills on the U.S. Army soldiers over this way. Further down, there's a... Oh my god, the lag over here. What the heck? Okay, we gotta get out of this area, bro. Certain areas do be laggier than others. There's still a lot of U.S. Army soldiers around there, though, is what I was saying. Oh, it's laggy everywhere. Why? Why? Sometimes the game just decides to die. Sometimes it goes from 40 FPS to 3 for absolutely no reason. Why? Sometimes you just have to find a new area to watch and it goes back to normal, but right now it doesn't seem to want to do that. Oh, I accidentally just put a little water on the field because we accidentally had a god power selected when I clicked. Sorry, I sprinkled them with a little bit of H2O. Okay, this is crazy. I don't know why the lag is like this. Let's just go ahead and time-lapse overhead and hope the lag subsides and goes back to normal for a bit, because this is ridiculous. Okay, 135,000 modern U.S. Army soldiers remain, 1.1 million Romans. Okay, the lag is not getting any better, but we have 131,000 U.S. Army soldiers remaining on the battlefield and 932,000 Roman soldiers remaining. So we're just going to time-lapse the remainder of this because it's not too many of each side and see what happens with 3 FPS at a time. But if we time-lapse it, it'll look normal. Let's go! Well, boyos, 111,000 remaining U.S. Army soldiers, 358,000 remaining Romans. The Romans are getting closer to, like, tying things up. However, it's still super laggy. We never recovered. So let's see if 350,000 Roman soldiers can defeat 111,000 U.S. Army troops. Okay, more time has gone by. 105,000 modern U.S. Army soldiers still alive, and 239,000 Roman units still alive. It's so laggy, dude. Guys, we're down to 1 FPS. I think we gotta end it here. 98,000 remaining U.S. Army soldiers, so they lost over half their force, like almost 2/3 of their force, and 66,000 ancient units. So I think the Romans, they were gonna lose, even without the lag, obviously. So I do apologize that the very ending of this video was such a lag fest, but at least we got to see the vast majority of this battle and the outcome. Absolutely insane. Let me know if you guys want me to do this again in the future, maybe with no vehicles. Could be interesting. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.